Nothing. Everything moves fast when you get out. Everything's moving fast. Everything's moving 100 miles an hour. You want to eat some good food. You want to take a shower without shower slippers on. It's funny, the little things that you miss when you're free and when you're locked up. Like you want to have a lemon ice. Eat some Chinese food. And of course you want to have, make love, have sex. But believe it or not, sex isn't the first thing on your mind when you get out. It's really not. When I got out the last time, I did 8 years and 3 months. My wife was out there with my son and my daughter. My daughter never remembered seeing me free with real dress clothes on, with normal clothes on. She only saw me in khakis, jail uniforms. We just got in the car, the three of us, we hugged and kissed, and, it was just good to be in their company. And we drove back to New York, talking about everything, the house. They're telling me stuff that's going on. I'm asking them questions. I had cell phones blew up, the internet blew up. I came out of like a cave. I'm asking them questions about stuff that teaching me about, emails. I didn't know what the hell an email was, so, and everything moves fast. Everything's fast, because it's slow in there. It's repetitious in there. Every day's the same. Nothing changes. The schedule don't change. The time, the gates open, the yard opens. So, everything is a 24/7 schedule. Nothing changes. So when you get out, everything's speeding, because now there's no structure no more. It's just everything's, you know what I mean? Like, and then it's scary. So I got out. So now I was in a halfway house, right? I was in a halfway house in Bushwick, and I worked in Forest Hills in my father-in-law's tuxedo warehouse. So I used to have to take the train from Bushwick to Forest Hills, right? So one day I'm walking and I see this guy in front of me, and the guy's going like this, and I'm going, what the hell is this guy talking to himself? Right? I didn't know, and he's going ahead, and I'm walking behind him. I go, what is this guy talking to himself? Because the guy had a suit on, and he was a businessman. He had like a nice, coat on. He had a suit on and a tie, and and I go, what is this guy talking to himself? And I like sped up to catch up to him, and I looked, and he had these things in his ear. I didn't know what the hell they were. He had earbuds in his ear, and a wire coming down his shirt, and I couldn't see the wire. And he was talking on the cell, with the thing. That's the first time I saw that. And then about a couple of days later, I get on the train, and I get on an express train by mistake. I don't know. I get on an express train by mistake, and the train blows by now you have a certain amount of time to get from when you sign out of the halfway house, you have a certain amount of time to get to your job, and they call to make sure you're there. So when you sign out, you got to get to plant, you got to get to that spot in a certain amount of time, otherwise they'll lock you up. The train blows by my station. I go, now I panic. Oh my God, what am I gonna do? There's 8 people on the train car with me. What's the next stop? Not one person on that train car spoke English. Not one person spoke English. Not one person spoke English. Finally, the train stops. I jump off the train. I realized I asked somebody on the train, thank God they spoke English. Go, yeah, that's the express train. Just go underneath, go across the track to the other side, and just make sure it says local on it, and that will stop it. And I went around and I waited for the train that said local, and I got on that train, and I went back to my stop. Not one person spoke English on the whole train. I panicked. But the first thing I did, I told my kids, tonight I'm eating Chinese food, and I had to go to a halfway house. I couldn't go home that night. So they drove me to Bushwick, to the halfway house in Bushwick. And I went in, and there was a couple of Italian guys there, of course, mob guys. And, they knew I was coming. They were waiting for me. They said, what do you want to eat? I said, Chinese food. And they ordered, because in there you could have money, and, there's phones. You pick up the phone. They had all menus, and we called up, and we got Chinese food delivered to, and we had a little Chinese dinner, a couple of us. So that was good. So I ate Chinese food before I had sex.